Okay, so some kind of simple song structure instruction would be something like this. Now, I'm sure that you've heard people talk about songs having a verse, a chorus, maybe even a bridge. Um, there are all sorts of ways that we can have a song structured. I'm going to break them up in the way that I like to think about songs. So, if you are aware of another way, that's totally cool. This is just based off of what I know. How I like to think about songs are starting with an intro. And it's funny as I usually have like two intros. I don't know why I do that. I just like intros. But anyway, so we have intro, then we have some kind of verse, a pre-chorus, chorus, maybe, going into another verse, another pre-chorus, a bridge, some kind of, exciting chorus or leading up to the chorus. I've seen that as referred to as a double chorus or something like that, and then an outro. So to reiterate, at the simplest kind of explanation, an intro, verse, pre-chorus, chorus, bridge, outro. We'll just keep it super simple there. Now, that is a simple one based off of what I know. I'm sure that there are plenty of other people that have like another approach, but at least the consensus would be whenever you are making a song structure is that you have a beginning, a middle, and an end when we're writing. And usually, depending on the approach, because again, we can get esoteric and weird with songwriting for sure. If you think about it in like kind of like a storytelling fashion, or like almost like a Western or country Western fashion, you have that beginning, an introduction, a middle explaining the story, and then the end, the resolution. If you think about your stories this way, or if you think about your songs, your lyrics, and your music this way, it can be really, really helpful in kind of making it simple as to what you're doing with your songwriting and your song structure. To say one more time, let's think about it as intro, verse, or verses, depending on if you have multiple, your pre-chorus, chorus, your bridge, and then your outro. Your intro is just introducing the song in, a simple way. It could be in a divisive way. Whatever it is, it's happening at the beginning, and it's introducing us, opening us up to the song as a listener. And as the writer, is you can take that and do what you want with it. Remember, we're keeping it simple. Then verse, that's going to be like adding words to the scenario. If the intro was just with music, sometimes the intro could be, with all sorts of things. It could be spoken as well. But let's say to keep things simple, intro, that's musical, and then verse is kind of in getting into like the story and what that's about. And it doesn't have to be the main idea. It could just be something that's getting the listener used to like what is going on. Almost like you're like telling them a little bit about what is happening without giving away everything. And then by the time we get to doing the next part, which would be like a pre-chorus, would be us like, letting a little bit more information on to kind of whet the person's appetite that is listening to our song. And then by the time we get to the chorus, that could be the main idea or the main point or object of what we're writing about. And then we can go further into what that is during another verse, instead of just leading on at the bit in the beginning, first verse with like being kind of ambiguous, second verse after the chorus, we could be like, okay, I'm going to give a little bit more information here. And then that next pre-chorus, just a little bit more to whet the appetite. Then chorus hits. Now by this time, I like to write in such a way by the second chorus sometimes, where now the chorus takes on a deeper meaning for the listener. And now they're like, okay, like I'm getting this story a little bit more. And they're more in tune with it, more connected with it. And then the bridge, sometimes what I like to do, and you could think about a bridge from one point to the next, as being a device where you can do a couple things with. A bridge, like I was saying, is what I like to do with them is to have a contrast of, say, I was talking about a super happy thing. Well, the bridge could be like an opportunity where I'm talking about, well, what if it wasn't though? You know, something kind of silly like that. Or it could be a reflection of what was previous, or said previously, saying previously. You can do all sorts of things with the bridge, but the bridge, it feels distinctly different, to put it simply. And I'm only scratching the surface with all this stuff, so this is not like, you know, the end-all be-all authoritative like perspective on songwriting, but just so that you have like a loose idea of how I mess around with these things. But yes, so from the bridge, that is like different, can be different. I would say, as far as I'm concerned, is different from the verses and the choruses. And then by the like third chorus, if there is like a third chorus, some songs, they don't even have choruses, which is pretty cool. I've done that before and it's interesting. But anyway, by like the third chorus, you can make it like super intense. Maybe there are like a bunch of harmonies on it or whatever. There's more passion in how you're approaching the singing. And then an outro. It would be a really nice way to kind of end and give resolution to what was spoken about. And by the end of the song, is Lord willing, whatever needed to be communicated was communicated. With this kind of form, it becomes really, really fun if you do it that way. But you can also like not use all of those things. Like I was saying before with the chorus, is you don't have to have a chorus. Even if you wanted to, in theory, is you don't need to have a verse. You don't need to have an intro. You don't need to have a bridge. I mean, you could just say that you were singing a song and you weren't. And maybe that would actually metaphysically not even be true, but in theory is you could do that. And I know that's silly to think about, but whatever you do, any combination that you do, that is up to you. But what I will say is within this course, when you do have your assignments later, is I would at least like for you to have a verse and a chorus, and preferably an intro as well, because I love intros. If you ever listen to any of my music, I spend a lot of time on intros just because I think they're really, really cool. But you don't have to. Whatever your story is, just make sure that it has a subject, it has a beginning, it has a middle, and it has an end. And that you have fun doing it and communicating it. And other than that, God bless you, and Lord willing, I will see you in the next video.